There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am with another Thursday night Friday reads. I'm got medical doctor's appointments tomorrow in the morning, so yeah, here I am. I've had a strange reading week. It's been positive, but it's been surprising. So let me talk about that without making a big song and dance about it, which is that I didn't finish nearly as many books as I thought I would. I told you last week that I was planning to finish, believe it was 3 books on the weekend, so that I would be starting February 1st, Monday, and starting 5 new books. Well, I only finished one of them, one of those 3, and I finished it late this morning. So that surprised me, and I am feeling I have put pressure on myself because of my 6-book limit that I'm reading some very enjoyable, very meaty books that are taking time to read, and my whole reading soul is resisting anything remotely like skimming or, trying to read more than my reading soul will permit. It ain't happening. So I feel like I've just slowed right down, and I got a lovely, very welcome kick in the pants delivered very lovingly from Lindy last night. I won't quote what she said, but basically, to paraphrase, she said, "John, you're reading for enjoyment, and everything else, who cares about it?" And of course she's right, but I have this wonderful Black History Month TBR and other books, things, and I'm just feeling I've got some meaty reads, and I'm not just talking about length, I'm also talking about the content that is literarily rich, which makes me want to savor it. I'm thinking maybe I'm not going to get to very many books this month. And as Lindy said, she's right, and I needed someone in the universe to remind me that it's not about finishing a bunch of books, for God's sakes. So I probably won't do a Friday Reads next Friday because I'm just not going to have much to say. I may, but I probably won't. It might be 2 weeks before you see me for a Friday Reads, but I will always put a video up on Friday if it's not a Friday Read, so don't worry. I do have a fair amount to say today, but I just think the way my reading is going so far in February, I probably won't have anything really to say next Friday. So, I have finished one. Today, just before lunch, I finished Kiss of the Spider-Man. Kiss of the Spider-Woman by Manuel Puig, translated by Alan Baker. And I loved it. It was a 5-star read, and I haven't decided whether I'm going to do a review. I feel like it's a book that I need to sit with, and after I have sat with it, and if I feel I have anything, interesting to say, I may do a review, but if not, I'll give you my kind of hot take. As I said before, and as most people know because you've seen the movie or the play or whatever, it is 2 Argentine prisoners, gay guy and a straight guy. Very modern interpretations of the novel. See, the gay character is actually a transgender character, and I don't, but that's fine. However you interpret it, it's not a straight character. Let's put it that way. Very effeminate gay man was my take. And they're inhabiting the same cell, and they couldn't be more different. Not only sexual orientation, but the straight guy is very political, so he's a revolutionary, and that's why he's in prison. And the gay guy couldn't be any more apolitical. But they have an interesting relationship. And the novel consists of the gay guy narrating movies he's seen, usually just before bedtime, as a way of kind of entertaining the other guy. And interspersed with that, there's some increasingly more personal opening up between the 2 prisoners. But more than 75% of the novel is the gay guy narrating old movies, the plot of old movies, to the other guy. And I think there's about 5 different movies that are narrated, and there's very little else to the novel. But we see the effect that the storytelling is having on both characters, and getting to know them through their reactions, through the gay guy's choice of movies, and the straight revolutionary dude's reaction to, and the questions he asks, and what does he interrupt to say, and how does he connect it to his own life. Sometimes it's very directly what he says that makes you realize how he's interpreting it, but there's a lot of subtle. I love fiction with embedded stories, and this novel is that writ large. So I think that the more that I reflect in tranquility all the stories in those movie plots and what the characters ended up revealing to each other and how the story went from there, that feels like it's going to be richer the more I think about it. So if I come up with anything articulate, eloquent, don't hold your breath, I might do a full review, but I loved it. I thought it was powerful, emotionally compelling, and I want to read more. Manuel Puig. And no bails, but don't worry, I promise next time there will be one, okay? I just was too lazy to bail on it yet, but it's coming soon. I have started 4, so let me tell you what I've started. I have started The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr., his debut novel about the 2 enslaved black men who are lovers, and oh boy, it's starting out really, really good. It's taking me a while to get used to the writing, but I love the writing, and now that I'm about, what am I in? 50 pages in, yeah, it's starting to sing, and it matches my blouse, so there's another. Give it 1 extra star for that. I'm rather speechless, other than having just described the premise, but I'm loving the way their same-sex, sexual, gay, we would say in modern times, relationship is experienced by enslaved female characters in the novel, and I don't know where it's going from there. I'm assuming it's not all going to be a bed of roses, but the language with which female friends of these 2 young guys are thinking about and expressing their emotions about this same-sex relationship is one of the richest dimensions so far, and without a word of exaggeration, I'm a smitten kitten. And I am 60 pages into Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. When was this sucker written? I want to say late 50s, is that right? I always confused when there's like 3 copyright dates that are close together. Like it says copyright 1947, 1948, 1952. Does anybody out there, how does that happen? What does that mean? So, published somewhere in there. And I am 60 pages in. I have not remembered a thing about what's happened, but I'm enjoying it. I'm doing it as an audio text combo. And the version that I'm listening to on Audible, which I no longer subscribe to, but it was one of the Audible, it was a free book or something, a $5 book or something that I never got to. So that's one good thing about Audible. You never lose the stuff you buy or pay for or whatever, even if you no longer subscribe. Joe Morton is the narrator. I love the way he varies tempo and intonation that a lot of audio narrators don't. And until I got to the part where he did that, I didn't feel like I was connecting with his voice. But now that I've realized the way that he brings that variation into the narration, I'm really enjoying it. Like I say, audio text combo, so I don't listen to one word of it where I don't have the book open at the same time. And I find it, as usual, I find that a really rich, in fact, the ultimate way to experience a literary text. It's gotten to the part where the protagonist is remembering when he was a university student at a black college. They now call them historically black, but I don't think they would qualify it that way when this story was set. And a white founder, he's driving a white founder around the campus, and they stop outside a farm just outside the campus grounds where there is a black sharecropper, and the gossip is that he has 2 babies coming, one from his wife and one from his daughter. And the white founder of the university, insists on the young protagonist stopping the car, and he goes out and demands to hear the story of this. And I'm just maybe halfway through that sharecropper's narration, and oh my goodness, is it fascinating. I mean, it's obviously morally dubious, to put it mildly, but what an incredible narrative. And I have no memory of that when I studied this book decades ago. And I have started Ma Jian's Beijing Coma, translated by his spouse, Flora Drew. I'm also 60 pages into this, and I really like it. It's The writing is nothing special, but the story. It's not a dog's breakfast, but I guess there's no chapters at all. It's one continuous thing, which usually drives me crazy, but not with this. So the premise is that the protagonist, the narrator, Dai Wei, has been in a coma since the Tiananmen Square uprisings when he was badly beaten by the authorities, and he's been in a coma for years after. And he is remembering his life as he lies in the coma, and what a life he had. So his father was a rightist, fairly wealthy, came from a wealthy property-owning family, and was thus persona non grata after the Chinese Revolution, and was in labor camps for 20 years, and it just goes from there. If you don't know much about the Cultural Revolution or post-revolutionary China, I don't think this is the novel to start with, but I have read 3 or 4 books, including my most favorite novel of all time, Madeleine Tien's Do Not Say We Have Nothing. So I'm feeling comfortable with all the different contours of the story so far, and it's fascinating, disturbing, and I'm really enjoying it. Don't have much else to say, but it's a keeper, I think. Now that I've finally finished The Kiss of the Spider Woman, just this afternoon I started Palace Walk by Naguib Mahfouz, translated from the Arabic by William Maynard Hutchins and Olive E. Kenny, and I think I'm going to love this book. I've done 2 chapters on audio-text combo. The audio narrator is Neil Shaw, and very similar to my reaction to The Invisible Man, I wasn't so taken with the audio narrator until he started doing the voices of the characters, and he is an American actor and voice actor of East Indian extraction, and he does a wicked Arabic accent and pronounces all the Arabic street names and everything just mwah. So I'm going to stick with it as an audio text combo, because I did consider after the first few pages, maybe I'll just read the book, but no, I really value that accent and perfectly pronounced foreign words. I love that. So I'm just been introduced to the 2 main characters, a middle-aged, upper middle class, maybe upper class, I don't quite know yet, Egyptian couple in Cairo. It's during the colonial days of Egypt, and I'm not sure, maybe it's First World War. The husband is complaining about Australian troops in Cairo. So I don't know, was that World War One? It says on the back it spans 2 world wars, so I'm going to guess that we're in World War One right now. I haven't met the kids yet, but the wife is fascinating. The husband is fascinating too, let's be honest. But the wife, I think, is going to end up being the main character, and she is so subservient. It's just disgusting. It's rich. It's compassionate. I already love her, and I just can't wait to fall deeper into the novel. So that one is starting out fabulously. So I hesitate to tell you what I'm going to start next, other than that I think I'm going to skip next Friday's Friday Reads. So within the next few days, I'm finally going to start Tori Peters' D-Transition Baby. Can't wait, but I just have... Because I'm strictly keeping to my 6-book rule, I haven't gotten to this yet, but I will be getting to this soon. And I don't know when I'm going to finish the 6th book that's a carryover from January, but within the next 2 weeks, yes, definitely. So at that point, I will start The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Filyal, which I've heard nothing but good about. So those 2. I kept you in suspense last Friday about my pick for the Invisible Cities Columbia spot on the bingo card. There's a small chance that I might have gotten to this one yet, but when I look at the meaty books that I will have as my 6, it's quite possible I won't have gotten to this yet. But whenever this month that 6th spot opens up, my pick for Columbia for Invisible Cities is Fish Soup by Margarita Garcia Robeo, translated from the Spanish by Charlotte Coombs. I've had this on my shelf since it came out, and it's 3 novels, a book of autobiographical essays, and several collections of short stories. I don't like mixing and matching stuff, but what can you do? I've heard it's really good, and it's Colombian literature. So that is what's going on. Thanks for watching.